So let's go to second.
Apps was not illegal under Facebook's policies. However, when the professor sold the information to Cambridge Analytica, this became a severe privacy breach. Cambridge Analytica worked for Donald Trump's presidential campaign. Facebook learned of this privacy breach in 2015, but did not notify its affected users at the time. Instead, Facebook took down the app and told Cambridge Analytica to delete any user information it had. The company agreed to do this, but they used the information to help the Trump campaign instead.
Okay. So what did Facebook do when he knew of the privacy breach?
They didn't notify the user.
What does it mean then notify the users?
They didn't say, they didn't warn the user.
Yeah, they didn't
about this leak of information.
What did it
Facebook
do?
just asked this Cambridge Analytica to delete the information, but that company, yes, first of all, the company agreed to do this, but they didn't delete the information, but they just used the information for the Trump campaign.
That's right. So they took down the app from the Facebook, but they didn't actually do anything essential in that regard. So let's go to the third paragraph.
In March 2018, the public became aware of Facebook's worst privacy scandal in history, when a Canadian whistleblower, who had previously worked for Cambridge Analytica, shared his story with The Guardian. When the story broke, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg, who usually tries to stay out of the limelight, had to face the backlash of millions of Facebook users. The CEO quickly admitted to his company's mistake and said it had updated its policies to prevent this from happening again.
Okay. So who found out about the fact?
Canadian man was working in the Cambridge Analytica.
Yeah, a previous
their story.
And the Cambridge Analytica, and he's called whistleblower. You know who is a whistleblower?
Yes. Yeah, someone who
tell the truth,
who makes tell the information, the secret information.
Yeah, someone who reveals the information to the society. Maybe sometimes some journalists or some newspaper men, those writers and those reporters are whistleblowers. They will alarm people, or they will announce to people whatever is happening in the society. Okay. So the next part, when the story broke, what did Zuckerberg do?
Tries to stay out of the limelight.
Yeah, he usually tries to stay out of the limelight. What does it mean to stay out of the limelight?
Yeah, go up means the, how can I say?
Any idea?
He don't want to come in front of everybody, maybe.
That's
He
right.
doesn't want people pay attention to him.
Yeah, he does not want the magazine, media, and this newspapers, focus on him. He's usually outside, out of the spotlight. So he doesn't want any, important attention or popular attention. He doesn't attract attention. He's a man in the shadows, So had to face the backlash. Pardon?
Yeah, backlash.
Backlash?
Strong negative reaction.
Yeah, he had to face the reaction, very strong reaction from the Facebook users. Millions of Facebook users did not like their data to be, sold to others. So the CEO, what does CEO stand for?
CEO is the top is the person of the company.
That's right. What does CEO stand for? Means chief
Executive
executive
Officer.
officer. That's right.
Officer.
Chief executive officer. CEO. He's usually the highest rank in every company. He's the manager, general manager, probably. So the CEO quickly admitted to his company's mistake and said it had updated its policies to prevent this from happening again. Okay, but everything had happened, so he was called to Senate in order to answer some questions, probably. So let's continue.
Zuckerberg's apology was not enough for U.S. lawmakers. In April 2018, the CEO was asked to testify before the U.S. Senate on the subject of privacy. While in the hot seat, Zuckerberg admitted to mistakes but defended his company, saying that it started in his dorm room and was never expected to grow as quickly as it did.
Mm-hmm. So, what happened in 2018? In April 2018?
The Senate, yes, asked Zuckerberg to testify,
Mm-hmm.
and Zuckerberg accept the mistake, but he said that it's because we start from a room and we never expect that grow as quickly as it does.
Mm-hmm. So what's the meaning of testify? Testify before.
Testify means telling the truth in the court.
That's right. When you're
by witness.
In the court, usually you testify. It means you're telling the truth to everybody or to the court, especially. So, hot seat, while in the hot seat?
When somebody just was asked a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you're just sitting there in front of many people and you have to answer their questions, that is called the hot seat, okay? So when in the hot seat, Zuckerberg admitted to mistakes, but defended his company, saying that it started in his dorm room. What does it mean? It started in his dorm room.
They just start their acting in a dorm room by her roommate, but by his roommate, yes. Mm-hmm. I think they were 2 or 3.
Some privacy, I think.
Dorm room means in their privacy, in their private conversations, and was not expected to grow as quickly as it did. So let's go to paragraph 5.
During the Senate hearings, Zuckerberg said he would consider a new policy requiring Facebook to notify users within 72 hours of a privacy breach. He also agreed that a law requiring tech companies to get permission before reusing users' data would be a good idea. When asked if he thought his company should be regulated, Zuckerberg said yes if Facebook was treated as a tech company rather than a media company.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so how did they change the policies in order to, cope with the situation?
They have notified the user within 72 hours after the informational breach,
Yeah.
privacy breach.
Breach. Yeah, they had to notify the users, and also he the he agreed that a law requiring tech companies to get permission before reusing users' data would be a good idea. So they offered that, and they agreed that a law requiring tech companies to get permission before reusing user data. And you know the meaning of hearing, Senate hearings? During the Senate hearings. What do you mean by
Things
when they ask someone some question?
Yeah.
And
Investigation, I think.
Yes, it means investigation, especially when they are just getting those witnesses and those documents, those evidences from people in order to just make a verdict that is called a hearing. Okay, when they want to give a sentence or make a verdict, uh, this is called hearing. That means the judges are there or the senators here are there, and they're listening to what Zuckerberg is saying to defend himself or to defend his company. And this meeting is called hearings. So when asked if he thought his company should be regulated, regulated?
Yes, control, yeah, through rules, laws.
He must be changed their policy.
Like a policy, yeah, like a
Make rules or policies in order to govern the company. Zuckerberg said yes if Facebook was treated as a tech company rather than a media company. So let's go to number 6.
Despite this scandal, Zuckerberg did not commit to changing users' default privacy settings. Many people want the default settings on social media sites such as Facebook set so that users have to opt out of strict privacy rather than opt in. However, the CEO did vow to work with the Senate on improving online privacy for the future. The company also offered a tool to allow users to see if their data had been compromised in the Cambridge Analytica scandal.
Okay. So despite this scandal, means although this scandal happened, remember this fight? We had a discussion about this fight. Zuckerberg did not commit to changing users' default privacy settings. What's the meaning of commit? Commit to do something.
Accept?
Agree?
Yeah, it's the same as accept or agree. It is promise. He did not make any commitments. He did not promise to changing. There was no promise for him to changing users' default privacy settings. What's the meaning of default privacy settings?
Original.
The previous privacy setting.
Yeah, default means original. Yeah, she's right. Default means original, what is set by the company, what is just considered as a rule or as a regulation by the company in order to just accept you, or when you are going to open an account, usually on Facebook or on Yahoo or on Gmail, there's a default setting, privacy setting. But nowadays, because of this kind of breach, because of this kind of violations, they have to have some ways you should be able to change the setting. Okay, you can just opt out or opt in the setting. So many people want the default settings